LinkedIn was set up in 2003 as a simple recruitment website for candidates and recruiters to connect with one another. So, in its first stage, Hoffman and his co-founders of LinkedIn were really focusing their efforts on trying to find a way to find a strategy for LinkedIn to thrive, which would be simple and accessible networking. But how did they really change the recruitment process doing that? Well, first, they made the recruitment process very public, continuous, ongoing. So if you look here, one thing that they added was a people you may know feature. Now, it's changed over the years now that it's linked to Gmail and all of these other email outlets, but this basically instilled the idea in people's minds that every person you know could be a connection. So recruitment is not just me sending my resume to an organization. It's really about maintaining connections, maintaining your own professional online presence. So recruiters are constantly looking for new employees and finding ways to find specifically tailored applicants. Allow them to say, okay, I want a candidate who's good at Microsoft Excel, maybe who's had some experience working at Apple. All of these things, they can now search for that. What's another thing? Now recruiters may hire someone before they even meet the person. So how is this changing the recruitment process? Now the recruitment process may seem a little bit impersonal. You may not have ever met the recruiter, the boss. The only thing about the company I would know is from employee testimonials on their website. Now that Hoffman and his co-founders found a strategy for LinkedIn that worked, their next stage was going global. Now, by going global, I mean making a public presence. And how do they do that? They focus on the power of communication. So communication is key in the recruitment process. And how did Hoffman and his co-founders kind of work around that strategy? They added all of these features, so endorsements or apply with LinkedIn, that focused on finding ways to make communication easier, but be a bigger part of the recruitment process. So let's talk about the endorsement feature. Let's say I endorse you. We don't really know each other, but we're LinkedIn connections and maybe we want to maintain ties, strengthen ties. We're helping each other out, right? So then maybe we were talking about, again, how recruitment is an ongoing process. Recruiters may see, oh, Alexandra Berger just got endorsed for photography, and they may actually have a position that I didn't even know about that photography could be a useful skill in. So again, in the past, how I was talking about, maybe now that it's virtual, recruitment may be an impersonal process. Using communication is trying to find a way to make it more interpersonal. So you're showing how connections can be useful, but also how it's a two-way street and you have to depend on other people in this process. What's one major implication? Distance from them. You may not feel like you have as much of a relationship. So talking about virtuality, there's this thing called Swift Trust. And basically what Swift Trust is a new type of trust that you form in virtual relationships where there's kind of this sense of mystery. You don't really know as much, you're not really sure, in this case, what information can be used against you, what your contacts are like as people besides what they say online. So you might not feel as close, but you also may not trust LinkedIn as much. LinkedIn and the virtual resume is going to switch to a medium between a cover letter and a work sample. So you can already see that on LinkedIn with things such as interests. Another thing are important causes. What are major implications for this? One implication is that you can be more easily discriminated. Let's say, in addition to my virtual resume, I post videos that I've done or photography that I've done, and I'm featured in some of the videos. Recruiters have a tendency to hire or just look more favorably upon people that are more attractive. So now that you have videos and photos and all of these things that are trying to make the recruitment process a little more personal and closer to the traditional recruitment process. So maybe you see photos of someone and Okay, well, I may not know them, but I know what they look like or sound like or some of the mannerisms that they have. You have a tendency now to be judged upon. And that information can be used against you. And unfortunately, most employers are unaware of these biases. The new millennial generation is very tech savvy, if I may say so myself. And the types of jobs and interests that we have are a little different from the traditional jobs or interests that workers have now. So, how should LinkedIn change? It should be adaptable to these new types of skills. And you can already see that a lot of people have started mobile hiring campaigns, or a lot of organizations are hiring these new kind of funky millennials with their tech savvy approach and all of their new skills. But there are problems with that. How do you measure interpersonal skills? In my essay, I talked about how salespeople have begun to use LinkedIn to sell products and advertise their company. How do you measure someone's ability to converse with someone or have team building skills when they're selling things on LinkedIn? You don't know if they're working with someone, you don't know how they know the people, you don't know if they're a good leader or how to measure these skills. So, one major implication is now that the skills are changing, you have to find ways to measure these skills.
Understanding LinkedIn may change, but one thing that is stable is the power of LinkedIn in the business world and its role in changing the traditional recruitment process.